The Dying Light 2 E3 gameplay trailers and the game we got in 2022 are, to say the least, different. But the game since release has improved tremendously. So how far are we really from those original trailers? In this video, I'll be doing a deep dive into the E3 gameplay trailers, primarily the 2019 26-minute gameplay demo, to figure out what we lost and what has been brought back into the game. Before we get into the details, let's get the two biggest things out the way. Number 1. Graphics. The most obvious loss from the original trailers, and one the community has refused to forget, is of course the graphics. Labeled largely as gritty, the look in the trailers was more dark, with a more consistent color palette, and a great lighting system to complement it. So when the actual game released with a much more vibrant and less serious tone, the community hasn't stopped wishing for that original vision. But has it improved? Well, sort of. Techland added the gritty filter to make the game look more like the E3 trailers, but throughout the updates to the game, how accurate it's been has been all over the place, and what we have now isn't exactly the fix we've been hoping for. Number 2. The mission itself. The narrative of the game supposedly shifted pretty greatly since the E3 trailers, and with that, the demo mission and the launch missions are different by design, so there's not too many good comparisons to be made here, due to not knowing what was changed for the narrative and what was changed because they were too ambitious in the trailers.
Frank! Fuck! Knew it!
With that out of the way, let's start with the E3 2019 gameplay demo. The first thing to notice is the HUD. The style of it is completely different to now. Here's a few examples. The mission indicator, the health bar, the stamina bar, the choice wheel. The style presented here is dark and gritty, fitting in with the world and visuals. The current HUD is more colorful, which also fits those visuals. I consider the E3 HUD to be preferable over the current one, so I'd consider this a loss, but it is visual, so this is subjective and won't be considered one. Then I think the weirdest change happens. The voice actors for Matt, Juan and Frank all seem to have been changed, and not necessarily for the better. Here's a quick comparison.
This is why we're screwed. How's this fuckhead gonna get along with anyone?
See, this is why we're screwed. This fuckhead's just gonna make a bad situation worse.
So seeing as he's graciously agreed to talk, we're gonna dress up real nice and go to his island on our very best behavior.
So, seeing as he's graciously agreed to talk, we're gonna dress up real nice and go to his island on our very best behavior.
Only if I can kick his.
Only if I can kick his.
I think the original voice actors fit the game better, and that the voice acting is just genuinely better, but this is also subjective. Also, lines for Aiden were redone and now seem less rough.
Take me to the castle.
Are you nuts?
Just drive.
Get out of here!
Take me into the stronghold.
You? Are you crazy?
Just drive.
Shortly after, when the first combat scenario begins, we see the first two mechanics that aren't in the game. That being the mod activation, which seemingly let you manually activate and deactivate the modifications on your weapon, and the weapon push, letting you push enemies away. These are nowhere to be seen in the game, and are therefore our first hard losses. The next thing we see is NPC reactivity to the player parkouring. I don't know if this was intended to be only for this scripted encounter, or if it was meant for the open world as well, but since it's literally nowhere in the actual game, I consider it a loss. Immediately after, we get a peek at a parkour object shown only in this demo. Further on, we also see a rotating metal thing and bar swings integrated into the buildings, none of which are in the game. There's also this unique slide in the 2018 gameplay. This is a loss for the parkour system. Next up, the grappling hook looks different. Quickly mentioning this because they've added grappling hook skins post-launch, so this is returned. During the trailer, environmental interaction can be seen, such as the wood breaking from the zombie hitting it, the grappling hook dismounting the vent, the railing being destroyed, and this chandelier falling when jumped from. Environmental interactions like these don't happen in the actual game. This is a loss. Through the whole trailer, countless objects, NPC models, and NPC animations are shown that never made it to the final game. This is a big loss. Now I'll list a couple smaller mechanics that we lost in the final game. The guy in the van shooting arrows at you doesn't exist. NPCs don't spawn or wander around random buildings like this. Sliding to grab this table leg never happens. This grab can't happen in the game. This platform or any other platform doesn't break during gameplay. This gameplay to cutscene never happens. Cutscene QTEs never happen. This stun state for the two-handed enemies is also completely absent from the game. Wildlife, apart from birds, doesn't exist. I'll count this as smaller circumstantial mechanics. The next thing we see is what looks like a removed parkour mechanic, small hops from one object to another. With the way you jump in the actual game, small hops like these aren't possible, which makes me think this is a removed mechanic for objects that are close together. This is quite unclear though, so I won't count it. We also see Aiden pulling a barrel, using the environment to gain an advantage. But in the game you can't actually move the barrels at all, so this is a loss. Then we see a couple of things regarding the Scorpio. The first being the enemy itself. There is no Scorpio enemy in the current game, so this is a loss. When taking down the enemy, Aiden picks up the Scorpio. Originally, picking up weapons from dead enemies wasn't possible, but it was added back later into the game, making this a return mechanic. Then we see the Scorpio itself being used, which is also a weapon that was added later on as part of an event, meaning it has returned but is no longer obtainable. This ground pound attack isn't possible. In the game, you can only do it from the air, not while on the ground, so this is another loss. Spinning the grapple hook and attaching it to the roof to be able to do a kick like this isn't possible. You have to look at where you want to grapple. Now, another big change, the animations. So many animations, from enemies, random NPCs to parkour and combat have been changed since these trailers. Here are some examples. Far jump. Enemy jump. Still jump. Bar swing. Grapple jump. Two-handed enemy stun. This is yet another visual change, so even though the community largely consider the E3 ones better, this will be considered a change. And with that, we've covered the E3 2019 gameplay demo. Now, let's move on to some of the smaller trailers. In the next gameplay section, we see a removed mechanic, which is a whistle. This will be used to attract zombies and possibly useful for stealth. This is a loss. In the same video, we see Aiden using a knife to descend on a billboard. This is another mechanic that wasn't available at launch, but was added later on and is now freely usable when you have throwing knives. In the Jack and Joe fight, we see two removed mechanics. Enemies being able to grab you onto your feet and headbutt you, along with using a bucket to stun an enemy.
We also introduced something like improving your avatar, so it's not only about
two losses.
that you can unlock for...
Both in trailers and in articles I found, there's talk of being able to side with the bandits. However, this isn't actually possible to do in the game, so it's another loss. In the 2021 trailer, we also see the old flashlight, being dimmer and more realistic as it gets weaker the further away it is, along with the flashlight inertia. The current flashlight is just a big white ray with these things stripped. Next up, I took a look at some articles released around the time of the E3 trailers to see if there were any mentions of anything else that we didn't get, and surprisingly, there's a few things here. In a Rock Paper Shotgun article, there's a mention of peacekeepers clearing out dark places, what I guess we now know as dark zones. This doesn't ever happen in the game though, but it sounds like there was once a mechanic planned for peacekeepers, making these dark zones safe. Then there's the mention of bandits setting up UV blockades throughout the city if you side with them. The closest we get to this in the game are the peacekeeper towers. Tumone also mentions UV lights being spread across the city from choices.
To escape. One thing you can also change in the city as you make choices, as you interact with different systems, is the fact that we have UV lights installed in different parts of the city, like lamp posts with UV. So you can increase the number of them, or change the placement of them by your choices. So
but this isn't really the case apart from the aforementioned peacekeeper towers, of which there are relatively few. I consider this a loss. There's mention of a settlement called La Puerta, which can become a big black market with advanced weaponry and illegal substances. This has been cut from the final game. In an interview Colossal Kiwi did with the creative director, Pisa, back in 2019, Pisa confirms that you will be able to hunt animals for resources and food.
Can we hunt these animals, use them for food, resources for crafting?
Just like you said.
Okay, awesome. We can hunt animals, people.
But this is also nowhere to be seen. A loss. In conclusion, it's clear that Dying Light 2 has had incredible improvements over the last few years, and that it's a much better game now, but also that it's quite far away from the original scope back at E3, which is why the whole community hasn't stopped wishing for it. Dying Light 2 is a broken promise, but despite all its faults, I'm glad it exists. And now, all we can do is hope Dying Light the Beast lives up to the expectations. That's about it. This was a big project to complete, so hopefully you enjoyed the video. Feel free to leave comments about things I missed or what your favorite lost mechanic is.